Hi, thank you all so much for coming to today's event. Prep for Success, a winner's guide to achieving goals. As you can see, I'm not Tom Ward, Executive Director of the Career Center. My name is Maria Casey. I am the Associate Director for Alumni and Graduate Students at the Career Center. And I'm so happy to see you all here today. We're going to have a great program. I want to start first by thanking the incredible team that helped make today possible. Nobody can do this alone, and we're so fortunate to have an incredible team at the Center for Career and Professional Development. I'd like to thank my colleagues Jonathan Ivanov, Karen Autry, Bernadine Waller, Victoria Passarella, Florence Catanese, and our fabulous team of student workers and graduate assistants. I'd also like to thank all of our alums that are here today. I'm not going to introduce them and steal their thunder. Also, the College of Arts and Sciences Associate Dean Peter West, thank you so much for your support. Our 4 classes and first-year seminary faculty, thank you for your assistance. The Office of Alumni Relations, Auxiliary Services, Admissions and Transfer Students Initiative, Adelphi Catering, the Office of Information Technology, University Communications, and Shadowbox, who is helping us bring this live. So the goal of today is to inspire, to educate, and to give you the tools to take control of your career from day one. Now, while that may seem like a daunting task, the good news is today we are here to support you along the way. Not only do we have an outstanding staff at the Center for Career and Professional Development, we also have tremendous faculty, administrators, and the power of the Panther Network and our alumni to connect you to the stepping stones that are available to help you discover your personal career path. This will take some work, some time, some reflection, and some experience to sharpen your career skills and build on your unique strengths and do what you do best. And we have someone very special here to help us with that today, and I'd like to introduce him, Al Trautwig. Thank you. Al has been a staple on MSG since he joined the network in 1989. He currently serves as the pre-game, post-game, and intermission host for Rangers and Knicks home telecasts, and is in-game reporter for Rangers home games. Trautwig is also host of MSG's Emmy Award-winning original program, MSG's Vault, which examines iconic moments in Madison Square Garden history using footage from the network's vast archives. One of the industry's busiest and most sought-after announcers, Al works several major national sporting events annually and has been a member of the NBC Olympic broadcast team 16 times, including at the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro. A master storyteller with a distinct resonant voice, Mr. Trautwig uses his craft to make viewers care about the athletes they're watching, whether in obscure sports like fencing, handball, and the Ironman triathlon, or marquee sports like baseball, basketball, hockey, soccer, and tennis. Among his honors are 2 National Emmy Awards, 3 New York Emmys, and a New York State Sportscaster of the Year Award. Al also calls Adelphi home. As a student of Adelphi University, Al Trautwig majored in business, but had a strong interest in sports. He had been a stick boy for the New York Islanders and a ball boy for the New York Nets when both teams played at Nassau Coliseum, not far from our Garden City location and his Long Island home. A member of the Adelphi University Sports Hall of Fame, Al credits the experiences he had working at WBAU, Adelphi's student-run radio station, with helping him to land his first job out of college. In the summer of 1978, he convinced the New York Apollo soccer team to let him broadcast the play-by-play of every game on WBAU. After graduating, Trautwig began his broadcasting career calling New York Apollo soccer for WMCA radio. And now to share his perspective on career success, please help me in welcoming and giving a warm Panther welcome to Al Trautwig.
Thank you. Thank you. I think originally I was going to be up on the podium, but I just think that's a little too formal. I just looked out in the crowd a moment ago, and I saw someone on their phone, and I actually saw someone totally asleep. The first thing I'd like you to do is ask yourself, what the hell are you doing here? Are you here just to be here? Are you here to sleep? Are you here to text? Are you here because your teacher wanted you here? Or are you here because you really want to get something out of this? What is it? I would like to think that many of you are here because you want to be better when you graduate in 4 years. I'll tell you why I'm here. I'm here because I went to Adelphi, and I know what kind of student I was. I tried to do the least. I tried to succeed, but I didn't have a dream. When I was about 50, I was asked to speak at my high school, and I regurgitated a lot of the things that I thought about and spoke about during Adelphi, and I was embarrassed. Trust me when I tell you, you can't imagine what it's like to be 50. You will hopefully get there, and when you do, you will not want to look back on the decisions that you made while you were here at Adelphi and be disappointed in yourself. I am here to help you get there. That was Tom's vision for this entire thing. I'm not here for money. I'm not here for anything other than for one of you 4 years from now to say, I got it. I heard what you said, and I did it, and it worked. I'd like you all to imagine that you tell yourself what you want to be. You want to be good? You want to be average? I actually had a student in my class that I teach here say that he just wants to be above average. I said, good, that's like getting a raise at Target. That's not acceptable. But if it is your goal, it's pretty easy to do. I'd like all of you to say out loud to yourself at some point in the near future what it is you want to be. If you want to be a success, well, then you better define success. What is it? Is it money? Is it friendships? Is it relationships? Is it something you think is funny? It's not funny. You guys are beginning a 4-year journey right now where you have to establish the bar. One of the things I do is cover the Knicks. The Knicks last year had a bad loss, one of many. And after the game, I thought, wow, the coach is really going to yell at the team. And then I realized, after all these years of covering sports, he can only yell at the team if the team has collectively said what they want to be. If they said they want to make the playoffs and they played like garbage, he doesn't have to say anything. They all look across the room and say, hey, that was not playoff worthy. Well, now you can do that for yourself. What do you want to be? And then every day you can look yourself in the mirror, or maybe it's when you put your head on the pillow and say, did I do that? Was I great? Was I average? Did I try and learn something? This is a deal you make with yourself. And if you violate a deal with yourself, think of how egregious that is. This is you we're talking about. You. What do I want to be? Can I help myself get there? I had students in my class say, I want to be great. Let me tell you, they weren't great. I want to be outstanding. They didn't do anything to be outstanding. There was one thing that I did at Adelphi which I really regret, is that I went to the many classes and I was sort of la-di-da. Listen, write down a few notes, not contribute, get a B, move on. That embarrasses me today. Once you make this deal with yourself, you have to be honest with what you are as a person. Are you really a winner? If you're not, Find a way to become a winner. Are you in a crappy class? Guess what? As bad as that class is, that professor has lived a long life that can teach you something. Ask him about it. There are things that Adelphi will never teach you, important things, things that only you can find out for yourself, like being a parent. The most important thing I ever did in my life was raise my son. But no one ever told me what it's like to be a parent. And most likely, no one will tell you unless you ask. Okay, so you make this contract with yourself. I hope that many of you think you want to be great. You'll know right away with everything you do in this school whether you wanted to be great or whether you're full of crap. Great is great. I had students in my class watch the grades that I give them, and I had to go defend the grades that I gave them. And I said to them, listen, A is excellent. B is very good. C is average. D is below average. And F is you didn't care. And he actually said to me, how do you arbitrarily come up with that? And I said, are you kidding? So let's know going forward. A is excellent. And every time you do something, you should know when you're done whether it was excellent or not. You'll be asked to write. And writing is one of the most essential things to expressing yourself. I'm a broadcaster. Writing is one of the most important things I had to learn. And people will decide what you are as a person by what you write. One thing you can do is take out your phones when this is all done and look at your last text. I'm sure it's something ingenious like see you in 5. Rewrite it. And then rewrite it again. And then rewrite it again. And then send it. And the odds are that the person on the receiving end will sense that it's better and they'll react to you. And you will have left a mark. That is a big part of what you want to do at Adelphi. You want to leave a mark. You want to create relationships. You want to have conversations. And writing helps you converse. Writing helps you talk to people and find out what they think, and as a result, create curiosity in you. I'm throwing out a lot of words, and we're going to get to something in a moment. I've been involved in pro sports since I was 13 years old. And in being involved in pro sports, I've learned a lot about economics, racism, trust. But the most important thing I've learned is winning. I've seen the Yankees win. I've seen the Knicks win. I've seen the Rangers win. I've seen a Little League World Series team from Trumbull, Connecticut win. And there are certain things that intertwine all of them. There is an approach from the very beginning to state your goal. We're good enough to win the Stanley Cup. We're good enough to win the Larry O'Brien Trophy. In your case, you're good enough to win with honors. You're good enough to graduate with an idea. It happens the first day. And the thing about it is, one of the most important things is repetition. When you think you've got something, you probably don't have it if it happened on the first try. If you ever hand in a paper that's on its first draft, you're not trying to be great. There is nothing that's been great in history that's been handed in its first draft. Everything gets edited. And there's only one person who edits, and it's you. Some of you have the mindset that what you want to do is impress your teacher. Don't do that. Everything that you're asked to do is for you. So every time you shortchange the process, you're only shortchanging yourself. That comes with being honest with yourself. The moment you're actually handing it in, what went into that? Because what you're establishing right now is what your work ethic is when you're done. And work ethic is hard to change. Habits are hard to break. Once you start drinking, once you start smoking, once you start cheating, it's really hard to change. So we go back to this contract that you're going to have with yourself. The moment you begin to take a quiz, the moment you begin to take a test, the moment you hand in a paper, ask yourself, did I do the most that I could do? Did I contribute to a winning season? Did I rewrite it when I didn't feel like it? Did I push through it when I had a couple of beers? Oh, and by the way, teammates. You're going to be exposed to a lot of different things in your time here at Adelphi. New friends, new environments, new things. Some of them aren't good. The moment you're involved with someone who leads you off the highway you want to be on, break it. They're not your friend. They're going to ruin your season. My belief is that right now you're in the pregame. I've used that term before. The moment you get your diploma, you will have a feeling. You're either going to have a feeling of, I'm ready for this, or wow, now what? This is not a short process. This is a 4-year plan. It's a 4-year plan to create a document that will define you. It's your resume. You may not care about it now. Most of you may not have one. But it's your ticket. It's your ticket to whatever you want next. What is it that you want? You want a job? You want a friend? You want a partner? You want something. That piece of paper is your ticket. Do you want to sit in the upper deck or do you want to sit in the front row? Where do you want to go? I sort of like the front row. So between now and that 4 years, expose yourself to everything that's here. We're going to meet some people today who've done great things. You may not want to hear what they have to say, but if you don't listen, you're being foolish and you're breaking that contract. In these 4 years, help other people. Do something special. Take art, take writing, things that can help expose you to other things that will make you a more complete person. And do charitable things. They may not feel right in the beginning, but when you're done, it will feel like it's the greatest thing you've ever done. This is a 4-year plan. A little goes into every single day. 4 years will go by like that. Trust me, like that. And you'll be sitting there wondering, what the heck did I do? Or what did I not do? Not doing sucks. One of the things that you're going to hear a lot of is have a dream. I don't see how you can be on a mission. I mean, the moment you leave on a boat or in a car or take a step, you have a dream. I don't want to be here, I want to be here or back here. Every one of you, unlike me, who didn't have the balls to have a dream, should have a dream. Guess what? In 5 minutes, different. Okay, fine. But the same time you put your head on the pillow at night thinking whether you were great or average or below average, did you advance to the dream? Some of you don't know what you want to be. Tough. Pick something. Anything. I don't care how outrageous it is. Pick something right now. And tonight, when you go in your bathroom to brush your teeth, say it out loud. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a teacher. I want to be an athlete. I want to be a winner. And every day you do the second check on whether you fulfilled those things. If you didn't, who are you kidding? Who are you kidding? Your teachers aren't here to get you to that next step. You have to do it. You have to do it. Hopefully there's no one in here right now who's not thinking what their dream is. Something else. I've had 2 classes in a row that didn't know what 9/11 was. I'm sorry, my age, I can't fathom that. But it was a fact. Not one student in my class knew about one of the most important dates in American history. Forget about D-Day. Forget about the Civil War. Forget that. They didn't get taught it. I've had nursing students who didn't know the most famous nurse in history. They didn't get taught it. Stuff like that happens all the time. That doesn't mean you don't need to learn it, and there's only one way to learn it. and that's to do the work. You're not impressing anybody, but you're enriching yourself. You're preventing the embarrassment of not knowing your history, this world's history. Because all history does is repeat itself, and to not know it is foolish. It's all part of being an interesting person when you have these conversations that will come ahead with your friends. And that's why I urge you to learn something every day. Learn a little bit about art. Learn a little bit about pointillism. Learn a little bit about physics. Learn a little bit about sports. Learn a little bit about life. Learn a little bit about something. You have an open universe to do that, and to take advantage of it would be sinful. Again, it has to come from inside you and what you want to be. You're going to hear an awful lot of things from people like me. Follow your passion, have a dream, things like that. The one thing about cliches is that they're cliches because they apply. They're real. And they've become cliches because people say them all the time. And the reason people say them all the time is that they matter and they apply. Should you follow your passion? Yeah. But first you have to figure out what your passion is. And the only way you can figure out what your passion is by trying to learn something new every day. One day, and we'll hear from people who have had this switch go on, you'll read something, or you'll see something explained, or you'll learn the history and go, wow, that was cool. Then you read something about the Civil War, and suddenly you're immersed in how the heck did that happen? And you'll find that it interests you. Those things are important. Losing stinks. I've mentioned you guys are in the pregame show, and the moment you get your diploma, the game begins. And it is a game. And what happens in games is that fumbles are made, plays are not run well, the game plan stunk, the coach was bad, people point fingers because losing stinks. There are ways to prevent losing, and it's called preparation and execution. You need to know what your plan is going to be. When you're handed your diploma in 4 years, what's your first action? It's easily planned for, and it's easily skipped over. The moment you graduate, what are you going to do? Where are you sending your resume? What do you want to be? How are you going to pay the rent? Am I going to get married? Am I going to be a parent? When that moment hits, I'm telling you, it's the real deal. And I can't tell you how satisfying you will be if you employ some of the things that I've seen that lead to winning. And remember, repetition is key, and so I'll say it again. You're doing this for yourself. You're all going to take courses you hate. Those are the ones that will make you better. Because when you're in a class that you can't stand and you're writing a paper you don't care about, if you take the time to make that paper better than you thought possible, that's your work ethic. That's your real deal. That will make all the classes that you really enjoy so much easier. Work ethic is king, and you'll know it when you do it, and you'll know it when you don't. I mentioned life is a game. You may not think it now, but you will think it. It's one of the reasons I love sports. So many things that I've felt in sports I've seen in life. Being distraught, being upset, being in absolute joy. I'm telling you that winning and tasting the champagne is the greatest feeling in the world. I want you to take advantage of all the people you're surrounded by, all the situations that you'll be in, and hold yourself accountable for yourself. One of the things you need to do is decide, what are you not good at? You're all not good at something. Some of you probably don't like to read. That's not going to work. Some of you don't like to study. That's not going to work. It's all good if you want to be average. But all these things go on a day-to-day basis. And if you skip a beat, it's okay. That's how life is. There are second chances. So if you've made this commitment to yourself and one day you sleep late or get drunk, it's okay. There's a tomorrow. You can get back to winning. And repetition is a big part of it. And so is curiosity and asking questions. If you're in a class or a circumstance where you don't understand things, ask. Try and learn, especially from the people who have been where you sat. Some of you think I'm a big blowhard. That's okay. It all goes back to you. Don't pay any attention to what I said except for the deal with yourself. That's the most important thing. What do you want to be, and how do you get there? We have some really cool people to meet. By the way, check out the paperwork that you have. It explains everything about this program, how it can work for you, how you can interact, who you can speak to, who you can listen to, how you can help yourself. Maria, can we have our panelists come up? So we have some former students, some current students, and they've all been through what you're about to go through. So Katherine, how about you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Katherine Stolfi. I received my Master's of Science from Adelphi University. Before Adelphi, I received my Bachelor's in Biology from Stony Brook University. I worked for the Department of Conservation for the town of Hempstead, and also I worked in the biotechnology field. And then I continued to get my education because I knew, being in the field, that it was very competitive. With just a bachelor's degree, a lot of competition in the science world, and many people had masters and PhDs. So I knew that I needed to continue my education. After I came to Adelphi, I started working on my master's thesis. And I knew I wanted to also do extracurricular activities while I was here. And a lot of that was working on my thesis. And I submitted my abstract for my thesis to an international conference, and it was accepted. And my advisor did encourage me as well to do this. I presented at a conference in San Francisco on my research, and I think that's what helped me get a contract position at NASA this past spring. It was opportunity of a lifetime. I found the opportunity on my own. I looked into different internships. I looked into what I was interested in, which was the environmental sciences, and I found it, and it was the greatest experience. And now I am an ambassador for them. So what I do is go around to different events. I speak to students about the opportunities at NASA, how it's very obtainable, and how not to be intimidated by certain opportunities. And that's definitely helped me a lot. Now currently I actually just accepted a position on Long Island, a management position at a company called Nature's Bounty, and I work with them to make sure that their natural products meet regulation and environmental standards. So it's a nice fit for me given my background.
Thanks. Meet Tim McAleer.
I think it's pretty fitting that I'm following an alumni who went to work for NASA. I failed out of Adelphi. I got back in a few years later and came as close as you possibly can to failing out again. And I don't know if this must be my presentation part of it, I'm just introducing myself. But when I learned I was going to speak here today, I asked my advisor how many people said no before they got to me. His immediate response was that the people on the list before me could not clear it with their parole board. So why was I asked to talk to you here? I took away life lessons from the faculty here that were well worth the student debt that I incurred afterwards. Like Mr. Trautwig said, I may not have given my best effort, but I paid attention, and because of that, I was able to learn. I had a class here, a grammar class, where I showed up for the final after missing almost all of the class. I was there for the review class. He gave us a packet of notes and said, you can come with one piece of paper and have notes on it and you use for the final. And so I know enough about writing to know that if you know examples of grammar in front of you, you don't necessarily need to know the rules. And so I put all of the review packet onto one piece of paper, and I passed the final. And he stayed true to his word. So what did I learn from that? You give someone your word, and you have to stick to it, regardless of whether you want to or not. As a businessman, I learned that if there are loopholes in your business, you take advantage of them. And if they're exposing you to something, you close them. The next semester, I took a class, English lit class, and at the very end of the first day, the professor there asked to speak to me afterwards. Her name was Professor Lainey Maddow. I learned that if someone has a hyphen in their name, it means that they are married, and if you're taking their class, you should have not pulled a fast one on their husband's grammar class a few weeks earlier. But she kept me after, and she said, your reputation precedes you, and I will not accept late papers from you. I will not let you miss class. If you miss more than 3 classes, I will fail you. But she knew that I had an issue with being judged. I don't know how she knew that, but she knew. I developed like a phobia of it. And so she said, when you give me a rough draft, if you don't hand me a final, I'll grade you on your rough draft. So what I learned from that is that there's not always one way to do something. And you should look for a workaround if your first try isn't successful. I also was able to get over my anxiety for that and learn that perfect is often the enemy of good enough. Not that you shouldn't strive for excellence, but don't let it hinder you from moving forward. I had a professor, Wes here, who validated all of my concerns and beliefs and taught me about the power of words. And so I'm expecting my first child in a month, and I've already created an account for him where once a week I put a quote for him to start his week. When he gets older, I want him to read and start off each week under the mindset that you need to take your best foot forward. And so it wasn't, again, a traditional education, but it did teach me how to think outside the box. And in closing, I would just say, take advantage of the network here. There's a lot of people, everyone that you meet can teach you something. So let them do that and ask questions, and don't be afraid to fail is probably the biggest thing that I learned at Adelphi. Do not be afraid to fail. I've launched things with my tour company in Philadelphia that no one else in the country has done. We started a comedy pub crawl where we go to 3 different places and there's live comedians on trolley. And it was terrifying. And the worst thing that could have happened was it didn't work and I would have tried something different. So do not be afraid to fail. And I guess the last thing I would say, and none of you will ever need this, but just be nice to your parole officer.
Krista, what's your story?
Well, hello, everyone. I was sitting where you were sitting, where you are sitting, many times because I've been at Adelphi for 10 years, so I'm really a permanent Panther, I like to call myself. So I didn't want to come to Adelphi. It wasn't where I wanted to be. I was really opposed to it. I was really resentful that my parents pushed me to come here. And I'm still here for, like I said, 10 years. So if there's something I've learned about Adelphi, it's that it truly is a home. There are so many opportunities for you to learn, grow, invest in yourself, and enjoy yourself. However, as some of the people before me have mentioned, you have to embark on those opportunities. You have to seek them. And you owe it to yourself to do so because you can be anything you want to be. I really believe that. When I was a freshman here, I was really interested in psychology, and I had this vision, and I think it's really important you guys have a vision. And I'm not just talking about something abstract and something that you kind of think about, you waver between. Be sensory about it. Have an image in your mind of where you want to be, who you want to be, what you want to look like. Do you want to be in an office? Do you want to be in a hospital? Who do you want to be? Where do you want to be? How do you want to feel? What are you wearing? Have a visceral response to what you want in your life because you can get it. So I started here studying psychology, and I loved it. I was intrigued. I was captivated. I was excited, probably a little too excited. But I knew I wanted to be a psychologist, and I'm really, really fortunate to say that I'm almost there. I'm in my 4th year of my PhD, which means I have 1 more year, Woo! And then I will be able to apply for my license in practicing clinical psychology. Adelphi has afforded me those opportunities. Excuse me. When I was here, the really unique thing about Adelphi is when one person sees your effort and they know you and they really see you, they value you, they look out for you, they reach out to you. So I've been incredibly blessed to have professors come to me because they saw I put in the work, they saw I put in the effort, with different job opportunities, research opportunities, babysitting opportunities. So I had the experience where I tried really hard. In the beginning, probably for the wrong reasons, probably for professors' approval or because I thought it was the right thing. I really wanted that 4.0. But I was really determined because I had to be. I've had life experiences where I have to count on myself, and that's probably one of the greatest lessons I've ever learned because there was no other way for me. But Adelphi is one of those places where people look out for you. They really give a damn about you. You have to give a damn about yourself first, but then they do. So if you try, you show up, you be the person you want to be, the person you admire, people will match that tenfold. So like I said, I've done some pretty great things. I've worked on NIH-funded grants, which is a government organization. I'm a practicing clinician, so I have clients now. I work at the VA, I treat veterans. I teach here, I'm an adjunct faculty member. I work here, I'm a staff member. I'm also a student here. So I do a lot of things at Adelphi. And it would not have been possible without the community at Adelphi, truly. I have friends that went to Ivy League schools. They did not have the experience I had here. The clinical experience, the research experience, the faculty experience. It's truly humbling. Something that I heard the other day, which I wanted to share with you all, was to dream big, but think small. Every little thing you do, no matter how trivial you think it may be, is super important. So when I joined Psych Club, did I want to join? Not really. Did I want to become president? No, honestly, I really didn't. I used to see the president of Psych Club and I would think, why is she doing this to herself? And she convinced me, and I did it. And it forced me to have relationships with faculty members. It forced me to be involved, to really care about who I was being, how I was representing myself, the psychology club. But little things like that aren't so little, because they helped me get into graduate school. So every little thing you do is leading up to the bigger goal, your dream. So don't cheat yourself of dreaming small. Dream really, really big, no matter what it is. Like I said, have an image of yourself in the world, a real image, and work toward that. But everything you do is going to lead up to that. So keep trying, do new things, explore, be curious, meet new people, people you don't think you'd like, talk to them. Don't deprive yourself of learning and growing. Really, don't do it. So yeah, invest in yourself, dream big, think small, do all those little things that will lead up to that bigger goal, and when you look back, you're really proud of yourself, and that's invaluable. No one can give that to you because you know you've worked on it. So yeah, good luck and enjoy the ride.
Gianni, you're up.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am currently a graphic designer at W.W. Norton, the publishing company. I work primarily, thank you. I work primarily as a college textbook cover designer, and I've worked on covers such as the Norton Anthology of American Literature, which, if there are any English majors in this room, you may be holding that book. I've also worked on Concise Introduction to Tonal Harmony, which I received a New York Book Show award for. It's interesting, though, because though I'm currently a graphic designer, I was actually an English major when I was here at Adelphi. I transferred to Adelphi back in 2008 from a university in Philadelphia, and I knew three things. I knew that I wanted to be an English major with a concentration in creative writing. I knew that I wanted to write the next greatest novel, which I am still in the process of working on. And I knew that I wanted to be an English professor. So I took advantage of the opportunities here at Adelphi, and I tried to find opportunities that would give me the teaching experience that I would need later on in life. So I took advantage of the work-study program. I worked as a writing center tutor, both a synchronous and a face-to-face tutor for a year and a half. I was also a writing assistant, which really gave me the first experience of being in the classroom, in front of the classroom as an instructor. Professor Lonnie Preston Maddow, who is still working here and is an amazing professor, asked me to create a lesson plan that instructed students on how to organize a works cited page and how to use in-text citations. And it wasn't, the most exciting lesson plan that I could come up with, but it gave me the experience that I needed to move forward with my career. I finished up my English major requirements pretty early, and so I had extra credits that I needed in order to graduate. And instead of taking just random courses, I actually decided to pursue a minor in art, which has always been another passion of mine. I found out that I only needed 6 credits in order to declare my minor, so I declared my minor, signed up for 6 workshops, including an Introduction to Photoshop class, which really exposed me to the program that I am now using on a day-to-day basis. And it also introduced me to color theory and composition, which I definitely need in my regular job at the moment. I also was an English Honor Society member. I became the president in my last semester here at Adelphi. And the English Honor Society was responsible for promoting literacy across the campus. And so I designed all of the flyers and the brochures that promoted the events that we hosted, such as the dramatic reading of Professor Anton Dudley's play, Honor in the River. And folks complimented me on the designs that I did, but I didn't really think anything of it at that point because I was so focused on becoming an English professor that I didn't realize that another career opportunity was opening itself up for me. I graduated from Adelphi. I went on to pursue my MFA in creative writing. I taught for 2 years, and honestly, it was at the end of my first semester teaching that I realized that I did not want to be a teacher. This dream that I had for myself was not actually the dream that I wanted. I realized that as much as I loved the face-to-face interaction with the students, I was finding it difficult to juggle my creative time with all of the prep work that goes into being a teacher, all of the grading and all of the, planning all of the lessons and reading all the material that is assigned to you. So I had a moment of sheer panic where I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And so I stopped for a moment and I thought about what skills I had, what would I enjoy doing every single day. And graphic design was that. I was freelancing during that time, and so I created a portfolio for myself using some of the same work that I had created while I was here at Adelphi and work that I did along the way, and I applied to an art internship at WW Norton at the same time that I was applying for full-time positions, teaching positions. And I landed a full-time job as a teacher, and I landed the internship, and I passed on the full-time job because I knew that the internship would make me happy. And 3 months after the end of the internship, I landed a full-time job with WW Norton. So I would say to you, please take advantage of the opportunities that you have here. Take advantage of the work-study program. And yes, your dream will change. It may change. It changed for me. But I think so long as you take advantage of the courses that you have here, you're setting yourself up for success.
All right, Gary, try and top that.
I'll give it a shot. Hey guys, I'm Gary Jansen. But before, 2 things to remember: the power of the list and help other people succeed. I'm Gary Jansen. I graduated, I can't believe it, 25 years ago, 1992. It didn't even dawn on me until just recently. And I started off as a business major. But then I met Judy Balmel. I don't know if anyone has Judy Balmel. Anyone have Judith Balmel from English? Anyway, Judy Balmel ruined my life because she got me interested in literature in a way that I never had before or never thought about before. And so I switched my major from business to English. And I could have had an MBA now, and I could be a millionaire. And instead I'm working in publishing, but I've had a really good gig in publishing. So I'm a senior editor at the Crown Publishing Group, which is part of Penguin Random House. I'm the director of Image Books there as well. And I have really had the great opportunity to work with some really fabulous authors. So I work primarily in nonfiction, but do a little fiction. But I've worked with Deepak Chopra. I'm Deepak Chopra's editor for the last 5 years. I worked with Pope Benedict XVI. and was invited to the Vatican actually, and got to actually sleep like in the Vatican, which was super cool. And worked with Pope Francis, and have published and edited well over 200 books. I'm also an author, so I've written, I think, five books, six maybe. So 2 were published through Little Brown, 2 were published through Penguin Random House. One's forthcoming from Penguin Random House called Life Everlasting. It's on mysticism. And 2 were published through Loyola Press. And so Judy Balmel in the English department really, as much as I think I wanted to be a writer when I was younger, she really inflamed in me the passion for the word and the passion for literature. And she really did inflame something in me that just to this day, I mean, I still feel that warmth inside me. But 2 things I really learned when I was here, which is one, the power of the list. Now, I used to make to-do lists all the time because I was a neurotic student and wanted to make sure I did everything correctly. And I would do my to-do list, right? I'd create my to-do list. I got to do this. I got to read this. I got to go here. I got to do that. But a few years ago, in January 20th, 2005, I decided to look at to-do lists differently and say, you know what? I'm going to make a to-life list. And I made a to-life list, which was, 1, I was going to write a book. 2, I was going to make a movie, and not only make a movie, but have it internationally distributed. 3, I was going to get a promotion. 4 or 5, I was going to win an award. And then 6, I was going to redo my bathroom. And within 12 months, I had done all of those things. And by not doing anything, just formulating the idea in my head to say, you know what? I've been slacking for so many years here about what I want to do with my life, but I'm going to get serious, and I'm listing these 5 priorities. And these are the 5 priorities that mean the most to me. And something happened inside me psychologically that just unlocked the ability and the timing to be in the right place at the right moment, to make the right decisions, and within a year's time, I'd accomplished all of these really big things that I thought were impossible to accomplish, but happened within 12 months. By the end of the year, all of those things had happened. And then the other thing that I learned from Adelphi was, again, and I think so much, and Judy's on sabbatical now, so you can't enroll for her class, but help others succeed. You think success is about it's about trying to make yourself succeed. Yeah, but you know what? You're going to help other people. If you help other people, you're going to accelerate your own success. And you can see that in the teachers here. And I think Judy Balmel was one of those people who, she wanted us to succeed. That was her job. It wasn't about her succeeding. It was about inspiring us to succeed. And when you can inspire others to succeed, all of a sudden, things open up for you. Help your parents succeed. If they're paying for your tuition right now, help them succeed by doing well in school. If you're talking in class, you're not helping the other students in there succeed. Shut up, right? Just help those other people succeed. Help your teachers succeed. Help the other people in your life succeed. Give your life away. And that's what you can see through what the teachers do here and your parents in so many ways, and what I've come to just grown and seen and just have realized in my life. The more you can give your life away, the more that you can help serve others, the more you can help others succeed, man, success comes flying back at you exponentially. So that's my message. And read my books. So Holy Ghost is a memoir. We're looking to make it into a movie, working with the guy from Fear of the Walking Dead from AMC, and so look for a movie 2019. Thanks.
And be sure to go on his website, GaryJansen.com.
Here's Brandon Bono.
So if you guys haven't already noticed by the graduation years up on the screen, I'm one of you. I'm an undergrad. I'm a junior business management major with a specialization in management information systems. Just a background, I'm a student worker on campus. I work as a hall attendant in Chapman Hall. I'm a student worker in the Center for Career and Professional Development. My involvement on campus consists of being a peer assistant leader. I'm treasurer and secretary of RSA, which is an organization on campus. I'm a student in the PrEP program and a participant in a leadership certificate program. It's a mouthful. Some of you may be thinking, wow, that's a lot. It's a pretty good amount. And I just want to tell you guys how you could go about that. There's a few things that I want to hit, a few key points. It's to take action, network, it's never too late or too early, and to always strive for more. So a lot of you in here are first-year students. I was there not too long ago. Some of you probably are just here because your teacher said to come here. You have to. Some of you actually want to be here, which is great. I was one of those people that didn't want to be here. It wasn't until my sophomore year where I decided enough's enough. I want to be involved, and I want to be a student leader. So first things first is take action. First thing I did was I got my first on-campus job as a hall attendant. After that, I was on Hall Council as Secretary-Treasurer. Hall Council is a group within residence halls that puts on programs for students. I became a member of RSA, a participant in the Leadership Certificate Program, and a student in the prep program. And that was my first month last year. So I accomplished all that. I had a job, e-board position. I was involved in 2 programs, and I was a member of an organization within 4 weeks. Network. So I have a personal friend who told me about Hall Council. Through Hall Council, I learned about RSA. Same friend taught me about the Leadership Certificate Program and the prep program. And through those 2 programs, I met Victoria Passarella in the Career Center. Through her, I learned about the open position as a student worker over there. I applied, I interviewed, got the position. Same thing for Hall Council, for hall attendant. Just apply yourself, interview for it, and you can get it. It's never too late or too early. Again, I started sophomore year, and I wish I did it freshman year, because I probably could accomplish so much more. But again, it's not too late, not too early for first-year students to get involved. You may think, well, September already passed, and a lot of things you did, I can't do now. It's not true. All of you here right now may not know, but this is the first workshop for the Leadership Certificate Program. So you all already started. You all took action. Strive for more. So this year, not only do I have 2 on-campus jobs, on an e-board, peer assistant leader, still participating in those programs. Just 2 hours ago, I accepted a bid for DSP, which is the business fraternity here on campus, so I could learn to develop myself more professionally and still become a leader. Maybe a couple of days ago, I was nominated for Alumni Council, which is a student leader group. All those things are things that you guys can do by taking action, knowing that it's never too late or too early. You can ask for help, network with individuals, and strive for more. This past summer, I worked as a talent management intern through the JCFP program, the Jagger Community Fellows Program, which is a program that the Career Center goes through. So all those things I did in 1 year. So never too late, never too early. You guys can start now. So you may say, Brandon, that all sounds kind of perfect for you. You got everything you applied for. If you don't get that job position or you don't get that e-board position the first time, keep trying. I'm going to assume we all know the soda 7-Up. Imaginary heads going yes. 7-Up is called 7-Up because it took them 7 tries to get that formula right. WD-40, which is water displacement, perfected on the 40th try. 409, which is a kitchen cleaner. Your parents may know it. Panel, we know it. 409 times to get the chemicals right to make an effective and efficient kitchen cleaner. So whether you try for it 7 times, 40 times, or 409 times, keep trying and you will get it. Brandon, you're involved in so much. When do I have time for myself? A quote that I like to live by is sacrifice for what you want, otherwise what you want becomes the sacrifice. So you're gonna have to give up some sleep, some time to yourself, and all those things, because you have to dream big, as Krista said. In order to get there, and if you want to evolve, you have to execute. So you were the list. make that list, take action, get involved. And as I said before, you all already took action by coming to this program, the Leadership Certificate Program, which means you only need 5 more workshops to go to, and you could get that certificate. So thank you, and we're going to pass it on.
One of my hobbies is to listen to successful people speak, and at times it can be overwhelming for all the things that they've accomplished. But if you really actively listen to what they say, you can take little nuggets that apply to you. Every single one of these people has done that, whether it's take action, which is legit, because you never know what it's going to lead to. It's one little step, one little crumb. In 1978, I interviewed a famous broadcaster, and I wasn't thinking of being a broadcaster, and now it's a 40-year career. That moment inspired me, and it changed my life. And that moment happened right about over there. And this room hasn't changed a bit. That's how fast time goes. We'd like to know what you think of this program, because after all, we're here for you. Does anybody have any comments or questions? See, this can't happen. I get this in my class all the time. This cannot happen. We're here talking about the rest of your life. You have to have a question about that. If you don't, you're already losing at the game. There has to be something that someone from NASA, a writer, an English professor, a business student can tell you about, something that can help you. Does anybody have a question or a comment?
I'm Wesley, and what's the #1 priority you would say for just getting involved and in college?
Brandon, how about you?
Well, those 4 steps that I mentioned, first thing is take action. If you all go on eCampus, the portal, right there is the My AU Life. You could go on that. There's a tab that says organization, so whatever you're interested in, whether it's major specific or just something to go on through activities like Student Activities Board or RSA, you could look that up and you could get involved, and that's the first step. And that first step is the dice is gonna roll, and one thing leads to another.
Question over here.
Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Petgrave Nelson. I am an Adelphi graduate or alumni. I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in social work, and I'm contemplating going back to get my DSW. It's more of a comment. I know that I'm a little bit older than you guys. My son, who's 15, just came here for the college, that summer program that they had this year. So that was just, a wonderful experience for me to see him being a part of my alma mater. But just take advantage of everything that they have here. I think one of the best experiences of my life was actually coming to Adelphi. I got married across the street at the alumni house because I loved it so much. It's the best $70,000 that I ever put in, other than houses that we bought. But it's a wonderful experience, and I think that you guys have the whole world ahead of you. I know that we're in a, we're into instant gratification. You guys are on your phones, but just take the time, put those things away, and just focus on the resources that the college does have. And it goes by very quickly. So just make the time to enjoy the college and what it has to offer. Thank you.
Okay, one thing that's going to happen, guys, is that you're going to be put on the spot. Professors are going to ask you questions. You cannot allow a circumstance like we're having right now at this moment exist. We have 200 people in this room, and not one person has a question other than him about what we're talking about? How could you not have a question?
I mean, they kind of basically answered like what I want to do going in as a
So what is that? You have no questions. You got it all figured out.
No.
So then how can you not have a question about it?
I feel like it's easier to take it in and think about it afterwards.
All right, so let's think about it together.
Okay. I guess.
No ums. Take that word out of your vocabulary to start with. This is your life we're talking about. That's what this 4 years is about. Taking the No questions. Sir, what's your question? It's not going to work. You need to be actively engaged in what you're doing. You have to anticipate that I'm coming to you next. Go ahead, say something or ask a question. No, that's not going to work. Do you understand what I'm talking about? I could be coming to you next.
When are the other workshops?
I don't know. What about today?
I,
No, that's not going to work. Sorry? You can do whatever you want. This is your workshop.
Advice for somebody going into the sports industry.
Going into the sports industry is like going into any industry. You need to know what the game is, who the players are, what the rules are. Only then can you play the game. If you want to be a lawyer, learn the legal game every single day. If you want to be a doctor, learn the medical game every single day. If you want to be in the sports industry, learn the sports industry. Find out every resource that you can go to understand the business and where you might fit in. Marketing, broadcasting, cameraman, sales. Sir, what's your thought? That's not going to work. Now we have one of your professors. What's your thought, sir?
I'd love to hear our panelists talk about their favorite class that they took. Now,
That sounds boring.
Can
What do you got?
answer that?
What if I,
No, sir.
how can we take our goals that we have as our main goal and take the experiences from other activities to broaden our mind and hone them in to help us with that main goal?
Anybody got that?
Sure.
Tim?
So how do we take experiences that we've had and use them moving forward?
Things that we've done that aren't related with our main goal, how can we focus them in to help us with that one goal?
Isn't that just being a well-rounded person, right?
I think you figure out what your strengths are and you feed them, and you want to work on your flaws as you go as well, but you don't have to always swim upstream. So if you have specific strengths that you've learned during your time here, find a way to utilize them. Sorry for the find a way to utilize them.
It's just a personal thing.
I understood that I had a strength in telling stories. I understood I had a strength in wanting to build relationships and connect with people. That's what I wanted to do. And my way to make money from that was to start a company where I told stories and I connected with people.
All right, second chances happen.
Let's say I'm taking a class for my major, but then I decide that, like, I don't want to be in this major anymore, and I don't know what major I want to switch to. What do I do during that time period?
Brandon?
So my freshman year, I was an exercise science major, and I had my life figured out. I was going to go to grad school after undergrad. I was going to work as a physical therapist, and I had everything planned out. A month later, I switched to business. So I already knew what to go into, but for you, we have a general studies program here, and we have general education courses that you can use. And I know Professor, remind me of your name, please? Professor West, big advocate of the general program. If you're a first-year student, him or someone else should have gone to your class to speak more about that. So you could take all those general courses to see if you like math, or if you like history, or if you like art. And just from doing that and more research, you could find what you like to do.
Can I add to that? Also, email people. Show up in offices. Talk to administrative assistants. Do not be shy. You're paying for your education here, probably most of you. Utilize the services. Show up. Ask questions. Ask what you can do with a career in that major. What courses you have to take. I would really, advocate for connecting with people. Ask other students. Take a class you might like, but talk to people about it.
One thing, guys, that I try and tell my class is that you're going to be judged all the time. How you handwrite, how you present yourself, what you wear, what your body language looks like. What were you doing when this thing started?
I was sleeping.
He was sleeping. Sleeping. on a day that could shape her life. What were you doing just a moment ago?
Sorry.
No, say what you were doing.
Use my phone.
She was on her phone. It's not going to work. They've got some serious readjusting to do. Do you think that's possible?
Yes, I do.
How are you going to do that?
Uh,
Sleeping.
I don't know. I don't know. I'll change it.
That's what lies ahead, guys. This is no joke. And who are you doing this for?
Myself.
So what's your question or comment on today?
I don't have a question.
You got it all figured out?
Yeah.
Do you know how stupid you sound?
No.
Does that frighten you that you don't know how stupid you sound? You do not have it all figured out. So that doesn't bother you. That you think you do, but you don't.
No.
What do you got?
Yeah, so I have to question the analogy that life is a game. I disagree with that. As life, I don't view life as, because if you make a mistake in a game, you can bounce back. If you make a mistake in a game, there's always the next game. If you make a mistake in life, there's not a next game.
Can I jump in there?
Yeah.
Sorry. I can't tell you how many mistakes I've made in life. I've made countless.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you make a mistake that ruins something,
I've made countless mistakes that have ruined things. I've hit rock bottom. Like I've come as close as possible as you can to just giving up completely. And there's always another opportunity if you want to take that other opportunity. I had written this in my original thing. I didn't get to say it. I'm just going to take advantage of it now because I may not get to. My favorite class to answer Professor West's question was his class. And we read a story about a young girl who kind of really suffered, and I related to it because I suffered a lot as a kid, and I suffered a lot growing up, and I made mistake after mistake. And through the conversations that I had with Professor West, I learned that it's not your circumstances that are going to control you, but how you react to those circumstances. So I have a cousin who was a heroin addict for forever and has been 5 years sober and is now on a New Jersey task force helping people get cleaned. You can make rock bottom mistakes and bounce back.
Anybody else? You got classes to go to? What do you got?
My name is Linda. This question is for the second guy. You stated that you failed out of college and returned. Like, what moment did you have with yourself that you realized that this is not working? I need to come back to school. Like, I need to graduate.
Sorry about the moment I realized I had to go back to school and graduate. I was miserable with what I was doing. I knew that I was capable of so much more. I came back here still not really knowing what I wanted to do. The moment that I had to come back here to school is a moment that I've had in my life countless times, even after leaving Adelphi, where I was unhappy, and I just kept taking steps forward until I was no longer unhappy.
Guys, thank you all for coming. Hopefully the questions are more prominent in the future, but I want you to know that whether you have a question or not, this program is there for you to take advantage of. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Thanks, Maria.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to our panelists and to Mr. Al Trautwig for their time today.
Thank you.